Welcome to Fusion Fiction with your host Madhulika Ra Chauhan, where every tale brings you closer to the heart of life itself. Today's story is Condolence. Condolence. She died 2 days ago. Who? Meena's mother. Meena's mother? I stressed on the name, trying to recollect the time I had last seen her. Her image had faded from my memory. It took me some time to recollect the picture of a plump woman with a broad smile marked by a prosperous gap between her front teeth and her big red signature kumkum bindi. Why? What happened? I couldn't help asking a volley of questions which crossed my mind. She committed suicide, people say. The answer silenced me. Death is a truth we don't quite like to face, and death by suicide is awkward to say the least. I sat back, my mind circling around the words Rakesh had spoken. Suicide? A cold shiver ran down my spine. I couldn't quite place it. Something about the way he said it felt wrong, like he expected me to say something, but all I could do was stare, my mouth dry. This was the first sentence he had said to me after we had met, after a gap of more than a decade. He was my rickshaw puller, Rakesh, who ferried me and Meena to school and back home every day when we were still in school. Meena and I had a long association of 8 years until my family moved out to a different neighborhood, much farther from our school. I took the school bus from then on. He was probably the only link between me and Meena, now that I mulled over the news. It was odd that after so many years, I had met him on the road pulling his same yellow rickshaw in a strange rectangular piece of carriage with a metal canopy over the top to provide solace from the weather. The rickshaw was the rickshaw was smaller than I remembered. As I stood beside it, I almost felt like I was looking at a toy version of the one that used to carry us to school. It seemed absurd to think there had been a time where it fit all of us and with room to spare. I wondered about the time almost 10 kids sat in it, one time not feeling claustrophobic. Yet now, even looking at it made me take more air from my lungs. She ate sulfas. Sulfas? It's a medicine to kill pests in grain storage at homes, he explained. Easy access. The question which troubled me more was why had she committed suicide? She loved her kids. She was the kind of mother who could put up a fight with anyone for them. How could she leave them? Meena was the eldest and she would have been 22 by now, the same age as me. The other two were far younger, maybe still in school. How little I knew about Meena's life after I had moved out of school. I did not even have her number. Do you know where she stays? Meena? Yes, I used to drop her mother to college every day. She lives right across the big company bug. I'll tell you the address. Meena was in bad shape, he said, lowering his voice. I could not come up with an appropriate response to his last sentence. My mind was still processing the information. The thought of Meena finding her mother like that churned something in my stomach. My hands felt clammy as I pictured it. Cold, alone, and final. How could she have left them like that? I thought about the kids. Meena, just 22, and my heart twisted. It wasn't supposed to end this way. She loved them. She could have had at least thought about them before taking this step. I came home that day a little distraught and emotionally wrung. The house smelt of my favorite food, sambar idli. My mom was in the kitchen making the evening meal for us. It was a strange sense of gratitude I felt when I saw her. I kept my bag on the couch and entered the kitchen and hugged her. Tears fell down my cheeks. I had been holding them for a long time. What happened? Are you all right? My mother looked at me and patted her tender hands under my chin and pulled my face up. I did not say anything, just kept crying. I did not know whether I was crying for Meena's loss or at my realization of the pain of losing a parent. My mother put her arms around me and held me. Ma, you remember Meena? I asked, trying to calm myself in between tears. The girl whose mother was a lecturer? Yes. My mother had a better memory than me. What happened to her? She asked, handing me a glass of water in my hands. She lost her mother. I wasn't sure I wanted to tell her the reason for Auntie's death. When? Not sure, I guess 2 days ago. Should I go to meet Meena? I'm not sure how I'll face her. She, she looked at me, silently wiping my tears away. I think you should go. Meena would need all the support she can at this time. Do you want me to come with you? No, I'll go alone. A few days passed, and each day I thought of how I would meet Meena and offer my condolence. A sense of awkwardness filled me when I thought of approaching her. I'm no good at this. Probably no one is. That night I called Rashmi. She had been close to Meena in school. I thought it would be better if I took her along. It would save me the discomfort of paying my condolence. I told her about Meena's mother. I was a little surprised she did not know about it already. Oh God, she must be completely broken. I'll surely come with you. I could not tell her the delight and comfort I felt in hearing her say that. I definitely felt more relaxed meeting Meena now. It had been 14 days since the death. Life would have started to fall back into place for Meena, I thought. Everything else goes on, even though a part of you just wants to stop. A lesson of Gita we had heard several times in our lives without comprehending the real implications and oddity of the message. I was meeting Meena after a gap of 10 years. It had been 10 years since I had left school. We were not what one would technically describe as best friends, but we were classmates, and more importantly, we had lived in the same neighborhood. Later, we both moved away from the narrow bylanes, sinking open potholes and open overflowing drains, constantly reminding us of human waste and cow dung, to a different neighborhood, ending our everyday routine of meeting and playing in the evening. In the lazy summer holiday afternoons, we ran our own library, sharing at Mark Twain's and Nancy Drew's and planning impromptu plays in the abandoned rooms in the third floor of the building she stayed. The occupants of the room were a family of pigeons who had found a safe haven in the Roshandan and a few dusty chairs which no one cared to dust. As children, we were too happy to be left alone there while our mothers napped. It was a carefree time and we loved meeting each other there. The only music which kept us entertained was the constant cooing from the nest of our avian friends. They almost always contributed to our conversations with a constant guttergoose. The shifting did not hit us as much as we still met at school, but meeting at school was always different somehow. We had different set of friends, and as we had somehow enrolled in different courses, me science and she arts, gradually we moved away. After moving out of school, we knew little about what we did as both of us were busy planning our acting up on our next phase of our lives, the college. Meena's mother was an English lecturer at the local college, and almost everyone had expected her to be good at English. She was good at it. However, the constant comparison with her mother's success made her resent the language at times. She loved, she loved the language, yet hated the desire to be compared. Why do people expect me to be as good in English, and why can I not be good at science? She confided once. That day, the teacher had praised her writing skill in front of the class, only to add later that she must be tutored by her mother. Rush- Rashmi and I decided to go and meet Meena the very next day. Rashmi had to meet me in front of the company bagh where Meena lived. I felt cold that morning, like the chill of Auntie's death had entered my body. We passed a, we passed a series of local shops lining the side of the alley. A local dupatta shop, a bangle shop, a local kebab shop where people waited for the capped chef to serve them with a sizzling barbecued kebabs along with ringed onions and mint chutney. People stood in rapt attention as the chef put the meat to be roasted. After passing the narrow passage, we reached the house, which carried the address we were looking for. I stood paralyzed at her door, clasping my fingers together as Rashmi lifted her finger to ring the bell. We waited on the gate for a few seconds before Rashmi impatiently rang the doorbell again. Meena opened the door. She smiled as she saw us. It was the same warm smile. She looked different and yet somehow reminded me so much of the image I had of her mother. Strange how I never saw the resemblance between the two. She had inherited the same gap between her front teeth. Her face showed no sign of obvious sorrow. Only her eyes betrayed her. They were a little red. She asked us to come in. She was alone at home. Both her siblings had gone to college and her father had gone to office. Perhaps routine had pushed sorrow away. Life had gone back on track, on the surface at least. We entered the main room of the house. It was a rather small room where the two sofa sets clung to each other without a gap. A small pet table was kept in the middle of the room. A few chairs folded were leaning on the side of the wall opposite to where we sat. On the plastered wall across us hung various pictures and paintings she and her siblings had made, perhaps in their craft and art class. The paper mache bowl with the pink satin flowers, an egg candle, a framed cross-stitched apple were kept on the marble mantelpiece. Rain had seeped in through the corner near the roof, creating an ugly patch of crumpled plaster. Auntie's framed and garlanded picture hung in the middle of the wall. Like the rest of the frames, it had not yet gathered any dust. My eyes lingered on her face for a while before I saw Meena. "Coffee?" she asked. I looked at Rashmi to check if she felt like having coffee. We both nodded. We sat there quietly as Meena went inside to make coffee. Meena's smile and calm face is not what I had expected. I, for sure, had pictured Meena's weepy eyes and delicate frame which I was ready to console. Meena's smile didn't fade as we talked, and I found myself waiting for something else, some sign of grief. But there was nothing. It was as if she had already put her mother's death away somewhere far out of reach. I picked up a magazine from under the table to browse through it. It was the last month's issue of a glossy gossip magazine, Stardust. I sifted through the pages, browsing through the latest film industry gossip as Rashmi sat next to me in silence. "It's been really long since I saw you," Meena said as she entered carrying a tray filled with coffee cups and cookies looking at me. "Yes, it has been. What college did you join?" "Vasundhara College, Science stream. How about you?" I realized this was better line of conversation than the one we had initially intended. It was easy to talk about. "Oh, I have joined English and Foreign Languages University, but I guess now I'll apply for my master's through correspondence. You know, after what happened, I cannot afford to study full time." Her voice was solemn, but her eyes steady. "This was a third attempt, you see. It was only a matter of time. I'm getting a post in lieu of her service in the college. At least this would help me support the family with Appa." It was a matter-of-fact responses which made me look at her. There was no detectable sense of loss or remorse in her voice, only a pragmatic approach to what she had to do next. I had visualized different conversations in my head for this meeting. None were close to what we were having right now. None of us said anything about Auntie. We had coffee and chatted a little more about our favorite and not so favorite teachers at school. "You remember Mrs. Patel, the one who taught us maths in the ninth grade? I met her the other day on the road while buying vegetables. She still remembered my name after so many years. Oh, and the one with the big mole on the nose? She was good only if she could do something about the mole." We all laughed, recalling the various names of Mrs. Patel had been given because of that big, ugly thing on her nose. We had already spent 2 hours. It was time for us to go. The meeting I had dreaded for the last 10 days was not the same. Nice, though. She saw us leave and waved at us. Keep coming. It was nice to chat with you after such a long time. You know, she liked you, my mother, she said, looking at me. I thought I saw a gleam of tear in her eye, but a smile overshadowed it. Rashmi and I crossed the road to reach the other side. Rashmi had not spoken much during our visit. I'm not visiting her again, she said, sounding a little miffed. So arrogant, not even once she shed a tear for her mother. I went because you said, otherwise I would not never visit her. I listened to Rashmi a little dazed. She had been holding back a lot of anger in her. Ever since even she had expected to see a different Meena we met today. Perhaps an emotional outburst from her remembering her mother would have done justice to our own version of the vision we nurtured for the last 10 days. Bye, she said abruptly. I have already wasted too much of my time today. She waved at me and left in the direction opposite to where I stood. I saw her moving away for a while, seeing her getting lost in the sea of people walking away. The bare light of the tungsten bulb hanging from the sweet owner's shop lightened the alleyway. The sky was getting grayer and darker as the night approached nearer. I turned around and walked towards the bus stop to join the long queue of office goers making their evening commute back home. I wanted to be home with my mother. It was so easy for us to judge Meena and her grief. She was brave, I thought. She had made an agreement with her loss and remorse. She had, in those 14 days, gained a wisdom most of us could not fathom. She had reached far beyond her years, understanding her responsibility and moving ahead without feeling betrayed or humiliated. The betrayal far beneath the surface for us to see. As I walked away from Meena's door, something shifted in me. I had expected grief, but in its place there was only quiet acceptance. I did not know if I could ever understand it fully, but I knew now that Meena had already found a way to move forward, no matter what had happened. She did not seek mercy from anyone for herself or for her loss. Meena's loss, Meena's loss was her own. No amount of empty condolence could bring back what she had lost. All she had done was covered her pride in the innocuous smile she inherited from her mother. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's story. Remember, every story has its layers, and not all pain is expressed in ways we expect. Sometimes the quietest moments carry the deepest emotions. We hope this story left you with something you reflect upon, and we invite you to return for more stories that explore the complexities of human experience. Until then, take care and don't forget to check in on those you care about. You never know what silent burdens they might be carrying. Share your thoughts with me on social media and write to me at madhulikarachauhan@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your stories too. Don't forget to subscribe to Fusion Fiction on YouTube and Spotify. Have fun until we meet again. This is Madhulika Ra Chauhan and you are listening to Fusion Fiction.